Hi, this is Christopher Brusa. Welcome back. Last weekend I went and shot a one-day regional PRS match at Frontline Defense in Warrenton, North Carolina. And I was just going to bring you my impressions of that match and kind of an analysis of what I did wrong shooting that match. Now, this was the first match I've shot in about 5 months, and we went through developing new loads for a new barrel, so I'm shooting a new barrel, and I didn't have super high expectations. It was just more of a fun match to knock the dust off. But now I am ready to go and get them, and especially after watching the videos of the stages, I can see what I did wrong and how to improve. It was a fairly simple match. There was nothing crazy in it, just very typical. It's the type of match where you're going to have there are people that will come close to cleaning it, missing. There were 8 stages, it was 78 shots, so it'd be very realistic for somebody to connect with 74, 75 of those shots. There was no part of the match where it's like you can't clean it. And I believe the winner had 70 shots. And congratulations to Kyle Ponce for winning that match. He did a great job. So the first 2 stages, I'm going to tell you about them, but we aren't going to watch the video because it's useless. Both were prone, or modified prone. The first stage, you were in the back of a pickup truck shooting off the cab. So you're standing in the pickup truck shooting prone off the cab. Bipod, rear bag, nothing special there. The target distances, it was 2 shots at each target, 450 yards, 574, 639 yards. And then you walk your way back, and so you shoot the 574 target again, and then the 450 yard target again. So 450 to 639, those are kind of shorter distances, but that 600 range is where a lot of the match is shot, out to the 700-ish. Especially the way Paul had this match set up and the different shooting lanes we were on. We didn't, the first 2 parts of his range, you can get much longer shots in the 1200 range, and he was not running those shooting lanes for this match. So we shot off the cab of a pickup truck, and then the next stage, stage 2, was simply a prone stage on a deck, but you had some big tractor tires piled around you where you had to get inside of them, have your head in them, and it was just a slight physical obstacle. It really did not affect many shooters. If you were a bigger guy, it was hard for you to get in there. But other than that, it was prone. So we aren't going to watch a video, but it was 503, 2 shots, 608 yards, 2 shots, 638 yards, 2 shots, and 683 yards, 2 shots, for a total of 8. So it was an 8-point stage, 4 targets, 2 shots each. And when I was shooting these, you had close to a headwind, which kept switching back and forth in direction, but it was only a few miles an hour, which made it tricky. The backdrops of the targets, they were on a hill, a grassy hill that had just been mowed. So you don't have much feedback as to where your bullets are missing. It was very hard to spot them through the rifle scope when you were shooting. You could see where people were missing, like on my binoculars. You could see the trace and where they were missing, but spotting the impact in the earth for a miss was very difficult on those stages. So we are going to watch the video for stage 3. So stage 3, that was various pipes that you had to shoot off from. It was 10 shots, so you shot 2 from the first green mark on a horizontal pipe, 2 off the top of the round pipe at a 667 yard target, and then again from the top of the pipe you had to engage another 667 yard target that was right to the right of the first one. Then you had to come down onto the smaller concrete pipe and engage a 514 yard target twice, and then go prone over on the concrete pad again at the 514 yard target twice. So the only part you could really screw up with this is the first position, because it's whether you want to shoot it as I did with like a free recoil, modified free recoil style on a game changer, and you're going to use a bipod for the rest of it. So do you angle your bipod like this to make sure you clear the pipe, or are you just going to deal with it? You're going to push it forward. Some people tried to pull their bipod back and balance on the top of that cylinder with the bipod, which generally is going to be your more inexperienced shooters that do that, because they're more comfortable on the bipod, but it's not a great way to shoot it. And it's, you'll see, I leave my game changer behind because I don't need it anymore. And you saw a lot of people doing that. So here we go, let's watch the video.
Load mate ready.
Randy, you on deck. Jonathan, you in the hole.
All right, if your equipment's the way you want it.
Yep.
Shooter, do you understand the course of fire?
Yes, sir.
Shooter, you ready?
Yep.
Shooter ready, stand by.
And you'll see right there that I have a pump pillow, Armageddon Gear pump pillow on that I use a lot, and they've fallen out of favor, but I strap it around me with like a bungee type cord. And when I'm in a position like this, if I've got an area where I'm not resting my arm, or the height is not such that I'm close in, I'm going to reach around and pull that pillow up just to take up that space, and I can shoot without it, but it gives me a little more confidence. It makes me a bit more comfortable in that position. You'll see that repeatedly throughout these videos, and sometimes I won't grab for it. That's generally why I don't feel the need to fill that space, and I'm comfortable enough. And it usually depends on the height, so let's continue.
Back. Get back. Oh, Greg told me about that. I didn't realize. Greg told me all about it. Get back.
Okay, so right there, I had 2 hits, went up and had 3 misses, and I was just, I missed, so I changed my wind hold. I couldn't see where in the trees my bullet went, and I wasn't picking up trace through my rifle scope. So I changed my hold for the second shot and made an impact. These were fairly small targets, so if your wind wasn't right, you were going to miss. And I then took that hold I used for that hit I had, pulled it over to the other target, which wasn't that far away. It was maybe 10, 12 feet. And I don't know if I just nicked the edge of it the first time and didn't get lucky the second two, but I had 3 misses there, which I wasn't happy about, and they weren't due to like bad fundamentals or bad posture, not getting stable up there. They're due to wind, and I couldn't see where I was hitting to correct it. So.
Back! Get back! Get back! Get back!
Okay, so you saw I got 7 out of 10 hits on that stage, and there's a lot of movement, and I'm not dialing my scope, I'm using holdovers, so there was a lot of movement, and I just barely finished. You have 90 seconds, 90.30 and below count. Anything over that does not. So you'll see I finished with about 2.5 seconds left, and I wasn't dallying, I was moving quickly, deliberately, and I barely finished the stage. Quite a few people timed out on it. I'm generally a faster shooter, doesn't mean I hit more, it just means I missed quicker. But so this is a decent stage for that day for me. Let's go on and move to stage 4. So stage 4 was a tank trap. It's a very common prop in competition, and you need to get comfortable with it. Again, it's generally the same technique as any barricade, but there's some intricacies with how you place your feet and stuff like that, because you have these 6x6s or 4x4s in the way. So you started out prone to the left of the trap and engaged a 691 yard target. It was a very small, it was a MOA, roughly an MOA diamond. So you shot that twice, went to the top left of the tank trap and shot a 468 yard diamond, but it's closer, and I think it was a bit bigger. It was a reasonably sized target. Easy to miss, but it wasn't super tiny. You didn't look at it and go, oh, that's a small target. But so you went from the top left of the tank trap, then 2 shots from the middle of the tank trap. Same target, 468 yards. And then you moved to the top right of the tank trap and again engaged that same 468 yard target. And then dropped prone to the right of the tank trap and engaged a 676 yard target. Now that was the same size target as the 691 yards. It was a very small diamond, and diamonds are very hard. They're harder to hit than, say, a square or a circle. With a diamond, you're missing a huge chunk in the corner, so if your elevation isn't dead on, you don't have as much windage. And if your windage is on, you get your full elevation, but generally elevation is you can predict it more precisely than the wind. So let's watch and see how it went.
I just forced it to range. Like I said, I popped.
Then holding up the shot, and then between doors, like, then where do I go? And then it was just like, bang, bang, bang.
Okay, before we get too far into it, again, I have the pump pillow, and because I'm going to be using the game changer for positions 2, 3, and 4 on the tank trap, I need to bring that with me. And I always dangle my rear bag off my belt on a strap. And so I move, it just comes with me, I grab it when I need it. Don't attach them to the rifle. It used to be common, I haven't seen it lately, but it used to be common to see people have like a bag attached to their rifle. So when you aren't using it, that bag is swinging and it's directly connected to the rifle. So your butt is going to be moving slightly, especially if you're in a very unsupported position. So I don't attach it to the rifle, I attach it to my belt, and it's not big enough to where I can even feel it swinging. So it's not really affecting my body, but it comes with me. And a lot of times you'll see people take the game changer when they're going to that first position. If they're using it on the second, they will either throw it at the prop where they're going to use it, which you're full of adrenaline, you're on the clock, not a good idea because you usually go too far, miss, whatever. Or you'll see people actually go and place it on that. Don't waste that time because you're not going to place it right. You're going to have to adjust it anyway. So I always set it next to me, and like right when I get down, so it's natural when I'm getting up, I just grab it. So let's go.
That's how it works.
That's how. If it was easy, we wouldn't do it. Oh, well, you're right.
Impact! Impact!
Okay, now this is a fairly high barricade style position. You generally don't want to be bending at the knees. And you can see I've got my legs fairly well locked, not super locked, but I'm standing straight with my legs and my feet are apart. You slide them out to kind of adjust how high you are, and I'm bending at the waist. I'm not hunched over much on my back, so I'm in a very stable position. And again, I get the pump pillow there. I could probably shoot it and not do any worse without it. It just makes me slightly more comfortable. It's certainly not a needed piece of gear, and if I were flying to a match, I don't think I would bring it. Anyway, you can see I'm in a fairly stable position. I could stand there for, 5, 6, 8 minutes and not get fatigued. I'm very relaxed.
They don't go back.
Impact!
It's not going to fall and make you sick. Hot dog like
Impact!
I guess it's a barricade.
Okay, so this is what I was talking about with sometimes you have these boards in your way, and a lot of times they're up too high, so I can't sit on my feet like I am there. I like that position. It's very stable when you're sitting on the heels of your feet, but a lot of times a tank trap will push you to be slightly up. If you do that, you want to get straight up on your knees and bend at the waist. So this worked out. I wasn't sure. I'd never shot this tank trap before, so I wasn't sure how it would work out, and it worked. It worked well. The ones at Pig River, I can't shoot like that, but.
Impact! Impact!
Okay, so compare my position here to the first position of the tank trap. My legs are not straight. My butt is pushed out. I'm kind of in like a position like I'm going to lurch forward. Not good. And when I started to slide my feet out, my left foot hit that tank trap, and it couldn't go any further and just not clearly thinking through, I kind of hunched down and made the position work. I should have picked up my foot and put it on the other side of that tank trap. Because I'll probably miss these next two shots, so let's see.
Impact! Impact!
Okay, so I was not comfortable in that position. I missed those two shots. So I got 8 out of 10 hits. Not a hard stage. That was totally on me. But as you'll see, I finished right before the buzzer. So if maybe I had taken that time, I would have not gotten, my 10th shot off. But I probably would have hit the 2 before that, that I did miss. So I would have gotten a 9 instead of an 8. And don't rush to miss. Take your time. If you aren't comfortable, don't shoot. Because a hit that takes a while is worth a lot more than a miss that is quick. So let's go to stage 5. Stage 5 is standard barricade. You aren't going to go to a match and not see one of these. It's made out of 2x4, and you need to get good on these if you want to do well in competition. Because the traditional barricade style of shooting is used all the time. I shoot matches primarily either in a barricade style, modified free recoil, or what I dub that, and prone or modified prone. Those are the two you're using most of the time. So fundamental stage barricade. It was a square target at 400 yards, and I don't have written down how big the target was, but it was one where when people look through, they're like, oh, that's small. And small enough to where the winds that day were in the 3-5 mile an hour range. We went from like a left to right to a headwind throughout the day, and if you didn't hold wind on it, you would miss. It was small enough to do that. It's probably a 6-inch square target at 400 yards. Again, that's just a guess, a few days later, relying back on memory. The reason I made a big mistake on this stage, I got up to the firing line. Arrow tells me to load and make ready. I pull my magazine out, it's empty. Depending on the match, the RO, the match director, and just the personality of the range and match, they're well within your rights. If you get up and you have no ammo, say, okay, you're starting now, your time starts, go load your ammo. Or they could say, okay, we'll shuffle you to the back. That's generally more common, but they don't have to do that. So carry a spare mag, and I just grabbed around to my other side, put my extra mag in. Now, if I needed it during the match because of malfunctions, something dropped, whatever, it's there, or in an instance like this. So let's watch the barricade stage.
Good thing you got a spare. Okay, shooter ready.
Shooter ready, stand by.
Green and red working.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna have to dig the tree.
So you'll see here, I am in one of my favorite positions, sitting back on my feet, on my heels. It's very stable, and again, I got the pump pillow and my game changer bag. Okay, so I just had a miss on my 4th shot. I didn't mention it before. This was a 8-shot stage. You had to go either left to right or right to left, progressing through the middle, the high middle, and then the middle again of the barricade. So 4 positions, 8 shots. And I just missed that shot, and I knew it as soon as I started to move. I didn't follow through. I had a good wind hold on my first hit. I could, with the plate, it was a single hanger, so it can, if you hit it on the edge, you're going to see it spin. Not really spin, but kick out one way or another. It's not on hinges where it'll just move back. So I did not follow through and started moving. And as soon as I did it, I knew I was going to miss, and I didn't hear, impact, and I certainly didn't expect to hear that. And I was likely just starting to move, probably not with a bullet in the barrel, but I could have, like right as it's exiting, I don't know, but I did not follow through, and I am positive that's why I missed that shot. Okay, so 7 out of 8 hits. I'll take it. I mean, I should have cleaned it, but I didn't, and that's okay. A lot of people said that the barricade was wobbly and not stable, which it was. But if you have good posture and position your body correctly, you aren't going to be leaning against that barricade. You're going to be stable on your own, and only your rifle's going to be on the barricade. So, but if like we saw in the previous stage, if your knees are bent and you're kind of hunched over, you're going to be putting way more weight on that barricade, which is going to be unstable. You're going to rack the bolt and get unstable again. So a barricade that wobbles, it would be great if it were solid, but you can get around that by positioning your body correctly to not lean on it. So let's continue on to stage 6. So stage 6 is what they call the stairs. It's not actual stairs, but it's the profile of stairs, and it's about the width of a 2x4, so it's 1.5 inches long. So it's very unstable in the elevation range. A lot of times, if a 2x4, like a traditional barricade, is put on a 3.5 inch direction, your gun is much more stable. But on a thin piece of wood like this, it likes to move a lot. The only thing worse is a round metal bar. I hate those, and they're very unstable. But if you have a good bag, like I use the waxed mini game changer, or small game changer, I guess. It's got a really heavy sand fill in it, and the waxed texture just grabs on really well. And this portion of my rifle, this is changed out. It's the RRS one for Arca rail, or for my tripod to attach to. But coincidentally, it gives me a very nice flat surface, and my bag just, the rifle sits on there. So I kind of like this stage. You started out prone. It's a single 500-yard target. Again, a square target, not huge, probably an 8-inch square at 500 yards. And you did have to hold wind. I was getting pretty close to center hits on this, and I was holding for wind, I don't know, 2 or 3 mile an hour wind. So you started prone, one shot prone, you had to be underneath the left side of it. And then there are 4 steps to the stairs going up, and then 4 on the other side going down. You took 1 shot at each of those positions. So you aren't taking 2 shots, you're taking 1 shot. So a ton of movement, and then you finished up prone again. So 10 shots in 90 seconds with a ton of movement. I don't know about other stages. I saw one person in my stage get to the 9th shot. And I believe at that time of the day, the RO said nobody had finished it. So, let's see.
I have shared that story.
All right, you ready?
He about shot the corpse. 4 guys in the car.
You motherfucker, dude. He's lucky they was smoking.
Oh, he's been great. You know,
Flying hard and working. He's been great. That work? That's right.
Okay, so this first position is a fairly low barricade, and I wasn't sure how I was going to shoot this. I saw people laying down prone and kind of propping up. I saw people laying down, putting a big pump pillow or something under them to get their chest up and shoot it prone. I saw people shooting it, you know, free recoil or just, you know, with a bag. I saw people using a bag for the rear, like a big bag to support the rear and get the front on. But the higher up ones, you aren't going to shoot that way. You're going to shoot in, or I would shoot them modified free recoil. And getting in that position, it seemed to make sense. Why not just shoot them all if I could? So getting up there, I wasn't sure if I was going to grab my pillow and go around kind of to my belly, if it was too low to comfortably get down. Because if it's too low, it's very hard to shoot that way. But luckily, I could get on my heels. You'll see my body is much farther back so that my torso is bent way over to get lower. I'm not scrunching down, I'm bending. So that miss was due to wind. I was holding too much wind and, you know, saw it right off the edge of the target, not super far. You know, if I were 1/10 of a mil less, I would have hit the target, but happens.
No, I said it's where the shop's at, where the full port, your gunsmith and stuff.
So for this height on the barricade, I was hoping I could get on my knees and basically be standing, but with my knees bent. So my entire body is straight. And it was a little too tall for that. I would have had to stretch, and if I have to do that, I would much rather go into this standing position, which I'm very fond of. Again, legs straight, bent at the waist. You'll see there's a delayed call there. That's because I hit the edge of the plate. And I talked to him after. He said, yeah, you hit the edge. And I saw the target kick, but I also saw a ricochet, you know, about 8 feet away in the berm, and it took him a second to process what happened there. So I just barely hit that. Apparently I got lucky on that.
My first time I went out there, following it, make a turn. And it just turned on the neighborhood. All right, look here. They tell you something forward, something circle, end up being the opposite. Hey! Those words got half of these names, one circle.
So you'll see I timed out getting into that 9th position. I took 8 shots, connected on 6 of them. I'll take it, but 6 out of 10 hits isn't good, but most people were timing out on that for the day, and watching my squad go, I did fairly well, so I can't complain too much. We'll go to stage 7. Okay, so stage 7, they called holdover because you weren't allowed to adjust your turrets. They do that sometimes in matches. They'll say one stage or whatever. You can't adjust your turrets, magnification, anything once you start. Generally, it's your turret. I've seen some where they say you can't change magnification, whether, it'll probably be a stage where you have vast differences. Anyway, I hold over most of the time anyway, especially if you have different target distances. I'm not going to dial. But it's troublesome for some people. A lot of times they'll try to dial for part of it and then just hold over, do math. And I don't know why matches do that. It doesn't make sense to me. In reality, who cares as long as you hit the target? But that's what this stage was. So you went up to the rooftop and took 2 shots at a 450-yard target. It was a square, I believe, and reasonably sized. It was probably 8-inch, would be my guess. And then you went to the deck, prone for 2 shots at 750 yards, and it was not a large target. Again, don't have target sizes. I wish Paul would put them on the match sheet. Regardless, prone, 2 shots, 750. Then you went to the next rock, 2 shots, 750 yards off the rock, 2 shots prone in between the 2 rocks, and then 750, and then again 750 at the final rock position, 2 shots there. And there's a lot of movement, and this range, when you miss, it's very hard to see where you missed, and because it's all mowed and it's fairly flat, so the target, you'll miss the target and you'll see the bullet hit way back, but depending on the angle at which you're shooting at the target, you don't know if you missed left or right. It's really hard to figure it out. I mean, if you miss by a lot, yes, you can tell, but if you're just off the plate, you're seeing the impact up above it, and it's really hard to tell. And this part of the range, as well as the next stage, we were getting a couple different crosswinds. Out back, there was a left to right, but up closer, there appeared to be a slight right to left, which is tricky. So let's see how I did.
All right, shooter ready? Spotter ready? Stand by.
Don't want to look. So where we going after the shoot? But
So where this target's positioned in the range is fairly close and slightly right. I can see I missed off the right side, so I wasn't holding enough wind. I wasn't holding enough wind, so I put more on it, and let's see. One thing of note, when you're shooting prone like this and your foot can hang off something, don't leave your foot hanging. It's going to move a bit, and that moving your foot when you're laying down prone like that, it translates up to a lot of your body. So there was 2 misses, and I could not see where I was missing, which in a situation like that, I do not perform well. I will generally take, like I'm sure I was holding off the left of the plate, and I probably added more wind for the second shot. I don't remember particularly, so I missed twice off the left. So I couldn't see where I was hitting. So generally for my next shot, I'm going to go straight up, because I'm just going to start aiming around it, because you get no feedback. So if I'm not hitting holding left, I could hold right. That probably would have been smarter. I don't know. I'll generally go straight up, and if I miss, then I'm going to start to go right, and it goes bad usually for me. I need to practice at that.
Right, he's like 60 years old, she's like 80. When I because supposedly there was weird noises like hitting the soffit coming from his room. In fact,
So that last one was a hit, which is what I was looking for. I was searching around trying to find my wind hole, and it was the other direction. I was holding slightly right for right to left wind, and so I took that to the prone position, and let's see how that went.
You can watch, you see it in the trees up here where your bullet's traveling. Time. You know,
Okay, so I took that same hold and fired at it twice because I just had a hit and missed. Blew that stage. I haven't shot a stage that bad in recent memory. I'm embarrassed of it, and I don't know. I would love to not have to show that to you, but it's what happened, so not impressed. And I got a 2 out of 10 on that stage. Now, granted, I only took 8 shots, but still, 2 out of 8's bad. And I was the lowest in the squad. There were tons of 3s and 4s on that stage. Actually, 9 out of 12 in our squad got a 3 or a 4. And I was holding at the bottom with a 2. And I think the highest was an 8. There was, I think, 2 7s and an 8. Regardless, I blew that, and I have got to practice on that range more and shooting targets where I don't have feedback from seeing my misses to correct. So that was embarrassing. Okay, stage 8 was prone on the known 1,000 yard range. So I'm not going to show it to you. Let's see. So we shot. They were small targets. They were sub-MOA targets. Very small targets. 2 shots at 500 yards. 2 shots at 700 yards. 2 shots at 1,000 yards, which was a 10-inch square plate. 2 shots at 600 yards, and then 2 shots at 400 yards. and the 400-yard target was a little 3-inch plate, like a 3-inch plate. It was small. I missed my first 500-yard shot, saw where I missed off right, and this is right next to the previous stage. So I guess that tells you something. So I missed off right and corrected impact. 700-yard, again, missed off right, saw my miss, which with the tremor reticle works great. I brought the same hold up to 700 yards, the same wind speed, and apparently the wind at 700 was greater because I missed off right. I saw it corrected, hit the second 700 yard. So 4 shots, 2 hits. Went to the 1,000 and took a bigger hold at 1,000, missed, and had no feedback. This wasn't the normal 1,000-yard target he has, if you're familiar with the range. This was to the left in the trees, so you had no feedback. Missed, took less of a wind hold, shot, missed, no feedback. Then I went to the 600-yard target, impact, 400-yard, impact. So I ended up getting 6 out of 10. That's a very common stage for Paul to do. And generally I shoot better, but I could have done worse, so not a good match. But I learned what I need to practice, what I'm doing well. And I made fewer follow-through misses this match than usual, which I'm glad about because there's a fair amount of movement. Basically, I need to get better correcting my wind hold when you can't see your impact. So I learned something. Maybe you did, probably not. I appreciate you watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and until next time, enjoy.